Guys, welcome back to HPL. I am Nathan, that's Admiral Zamora with the Tan and Grace. We just saw Zalae go up 2-1 versus ErA. Zalae continued to push the action in every single game so far. ErA has queued up 3 control strategies in a row, and so far only able to pick up one of those games. Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what they queue up here in the next game. Is ErA going to go back to handlock, which he got his only win with? Since it's match point for Zalae here, it's going to be real interesting. Again, I expect to see another super power strategy, maybe Rogue, maybe Face Hunter again. And you know what? We're about to find out right now. Game 4, Zalae versus ErA. Guys, get out there on Twitter, use that hashtag HPL, let everyone know who you're rooting for, who you're supporting. Zalae looks like he's going back to Warrior, and ErA sticking to it as well. And once again, ErA's hand kind of looks like it's going to favor control. You know, we haven't seen any Grim Patron cards in here, and Zalae's hand is still kind of open at this point. I would tend to believe that he's going to continue to play Grim Patron Warrior, because that's what he does. And look at that, straight away Grim Patron and Inner Rage in this opening hand. Yeah, he's also got a big Game Hunter in his opening hand. There's already a target from ErA. ErA has a Dr. Boom in his opening hand. Yeah, gonna be kind of, we have to see how this game unfolds. You know, typically this isn't the most aggressive game that's out there. You know, a lot of end game scenarios happening here, so players looking to pad their life total, find the right spot to take that blowback, leverage their life total to get that advantage. Both of them have weapons available in their hand. Right now, when you take a look at this, unless Zalae can find a way to utilize a very big turn, either finding the right cards with Frothing Berserker and Warsong Commander, or getting a big Grim Patron turn, I have to believe that this is advantage over to ErA. Yeah, I believe so as well. This match, as you said, it's kind of a weird one because they're going to tiptoe around each other a lot, especially early when you don't want to get blown out in any way, and you can only play 1 or 2 spells a turn. Yeah, so ErA thinking about playing Acolyte of Pain here. A couple different options here. Number 1 is he could try to control Zalae's armor using these weapons to maybe shred that away, or number 2, he can kind of maybe open himself up a little bit here. Deathbite is a very strong answer to something like Acolyte of Pain. You hardly take any blowback from this. You make sure that your opponent isn't picking up a ton of cards from it, and you also get it set up to play some massive turns. Yeah, it's really important in this matchup that you don't allow your opponent, you deny them from getting extra cards from their Acolyte of Pain. You don't want them drawing 2 or 3 cards off of it. So now the option over in ErA's court, and at this point it's looking like he's maybe going to tend to favor to control some armor here. Maybe he's going to forego it. No, going to shred that armor away, trying to keep Shield Slam from being a major threat at any point in the game. And at the same time, he's going to try to build his own armor total so that he can utilize his Shield Slam. He's looking to answer everything that Zalae wants to throw out of this. Yeah, he just wants to get as high as a life total as possible. So if something does happen where he has a big Grim Patron turn, you know, he can just shrug off the 20-something damage he takes that turn. Yeah, he still doesn't know whether or not Zalae is playing that deck. You have to assume. Well, this is one of the tricky spots for this deck, is that it could be one or the other. Zalae probably has a little bit of a stronger read, again, because ErA has played 3 control decks in a row. So I have to believe that he thinks it's that exact same deck. But Zalae hasn't shown ErA anything for him to believe that this is Grim Patron Warrior. And he's taking a lot of time on turn 5, so that may tip him off a little bit. But this could just as easily be like, I'm thinking about playing a Sludge Belcher, or thinking about playing an Acolyte. Do I want to use these now? Do I want to wait? You know, no clue so far. Yeah, do I play an Acolyte? Do I attack your face, get the extra card here? Things like that, you know, right into your weapon. It's going to be interesting. Now, you mentioned it. ErA has queued up 4 straight control decks here. It's going to be interesting to see what he does next week. I mean, his next matches, see if he does the same kind of thing, if he gets targeted by that. You know, it's an interesting part of HPL here, and you know what? Everyone's getting in here this turn. We're just going to roll with his Grim Patrons. He thinks that's enough pressure on ErA to make sure things are getting done. Fiery Warax only answers one of these minions right now. And aside from Brawl, there's not really any efficient ways to answer this. He's just going to go with that straight away. I like it. Yeah, it's going to be Brawl, attack whatever's left over. Hopefully for him, it's one of the smaller ones, so he doesn't take it. Yeah, the 5-power one goes away. So yeah, the 5-power one is, I think, the only one he didn't want to win that. Not that it's a big deal. You know, the difference between 3 or 5 when it comes to leveraging your life total, taking that blowback, not a big deal right now. So he's happy to do it and look for bigger turns later on in the game. And now this situation is starting to get a little bit scary for Zalae. There is very little action in this hand, and he doesn't have any ways to make big pushes yet. Yeah, it's starting to get really, really dicey here for Zalae. He doesn't have a lot going on, and I wonder if ErA is going to pick up on that. The turn 6 Loot Hoarder Armor Pass is not very good, and you're going to see Zalae start to really push the action here with Dr. Boom. Yeah, ErA getting this Dr. Boom on board. Those 2 Boom Bots, always a little bit of a threat to get something done. But he's got big Game Hunter, and there's another Grim Patron. So now, here's something else that's happening in this matchup, is that Grim Patron doesn't get a lot of repetitive damage from what's happening. It's looking for big damage spikes, those burst turns. So when he's used this first Grim Patron now as his initial assault, this second one has a very high chance to get saved until he can have some very big turns with it. So again, here, just going to take some blowback. This Boombot, not a big deal. The effect on the Boombot is the one that he's more concerned with, even though right now it's not that big of a deal. Still at a very high life total. Gets a threat on the board, so a minor initiative here to Zalae, but ErA's got ways to answer this board.
And you saw that's a pretty good draw from ErA as well. You saw a really good sequencing turn from Zalae there as well. He took care of both of the Boombots before playing Big Game Hunter to kill the Dr. Boom, because he doesn't want to lose his Big Game Hunter to either one of the Boombots.
Yeah, so Emperor Thorson coming down now, a lot of mana being picked up. This really opens up a lot of potential for ErA right now. And Zalae, this is going to be a turn where he has to make a decision. Does he want to answer this Emperor Thorson, or does he want to start looking for ways to push the action?
Yeah, it's all about, do I kill this Emperor here, or do I push for a ton of damage, because this is an opening. This is one of the first openings he's really had in the game. Earlier, when he went off with his first Grim Patron, Zalae had something like 8 cards in his hand or 7 cards in his hand. I fully expect that Zalae didn't expect to win that turn.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So, I mean, it's a difficult spot. I mean, he's looking at his hand, and what he's trying to piece together now is how likely it is that he draws the right cards to push through all the damage he needs. That's really the big difference here. And so at this point, he's going to have to go with this Grim Patron and hope that ErA doesn't have another way to efficiently answer what's happening here on the board.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get 1 Grim Patron here, a ton of armor. He's going to get an attack here, and he's going to let his Big Game Hunter trade off for an Emperor. That Big Game Hunter has gotten a lot of value this game. He killed a Dr. Boom and an Emperor Thorson. Yeah,
Emperor Thorson not too shabby on its own value either. Able to keep some damage off the board and at the same time give ErA a bunch of damage. So here he's going to take some more blowback. He'll start to dip on his life total. But I think he's very comfortable with this scenario. It just, he's got Execute for the other Grim Patron if he wants to do that. He's got Shield Slam available for. He's got 2 Shield Slams available for. He's even got Alexstrasza in his hand. I mean, this looks like a very big advantage over to ErA right now.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that if he wants to, he can start to turn this game very quickly on its head by Alexstrasza and Zalae.
Yeah, opposite executed Armor Smith. I think it's a little bit peculiar, but kind of a signal that he's looking to strike, maybe keep the armor total under control, so that way Zalae can't utilize the Shield Slam. Maybe on this Alexstrasza that he's looking for. So he's going to use Armor Up, Shield Slam this straight away. And I mean, look at the options. ErA's hand can crush what's happening right now. Zalae needs to pick up something, and more weapons is not what he needs.
Yeah, he's not getting what he needs to get here in this game. It's got to feel like a really hard proposition for him, because he has, again, this is what we talked about earlier in one of the other matches. He doesn't really have anything going on here. He doesn't have a lot of plays, nothing to really get anything going, and he's just going to float a ton of mana here. He's going to get some damage in while he can, maybe hopefully set up a huge turn here in a turn or two, but he's got to feel like it's slipping away into ErA's hands.
Yeah, this is something that you'll see time to time from combo decks, is that they'll get into these positions where they don't have the right combinations of cards and they float tons of mana. Their mana utilization completely falls off. Meanwhile, ErA is looking to keep his very high. He has option to play Alexstrasza and do that this turn, but I think he wants to try to get more options out of the way from Zalae, make sure it's completely safe, because it is a pretty critical threat at this point. And he doesn't have like Grommash to back it up or anything, so he doesn't have tremendous burst to follow it up. The Alexstrasza can get an 11 right now, but again, it could just be vulnerable to something like the amount of armor that Zalae has.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see if he's going to play Alexstrasza or not this turn. It looks like he's going to play it safe with the Armor Smith. We know that would be like pretty good for him to Alexstrasza here, but again, ErA doesn't know that. Zalae's had a couple cards in his hand for the last few turns in a row, so he might think there's an Execute in there somewhere. He might not want to lose his Alexstrasza. So what he's going to do is he's going to set up a board here and kind of tempt some removal spells out of ErA.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Is this going to be a 5-2 Armor Smith?
That is 1 angry Armor Smith.
That's a 5-2 Armor Smith. A couple of extra points of health picked up for ErA as well, so still not out of the question that he continues to leverage his life total, take some blowback, and keep that board under control. But again, okay, this is finally a big threat for him, but I mean, is this enough to really get anything done? Doesn't have a way to get a Whirlwind effect in play right now. Yeah,
it's the best threat left in his deck, but it might not be enough going forward, and that's got to feel really bad for you if you're Zalae.
Yeah, again, this is another one of those turns, like, does he feel like he needs to push for damage right now, or is it too much pressure coming from ErA? Is he going to take too much repetitive damage from the minions that are on the board, or does he actually just need to make that push and just hope that things work out best?
It's interesting to see what he decides to do here, how he uses his weapon. You got to believe he's going to develop a Death Spite here and try to set up a Grom turn here later in the game. But yeah, all these options, like, none of them look very, very good for Zalae.
He's found himself in these positions a couple times so far in this series.
This has been a knockdown, drag-out series here.
Yeah, I mean, ErA continues to diligently play these control decks, and he's finding situations where Zalae does not have any advantageous maneuver available in his arsenal, and that's exactly the kind of thing that Control is looking to do, is do enough to control the board scenario, and then when he gets to his late stages, have very powerful late game minions. The fact that he's found a way to use 2 Cruel Taskmasters and an Armor Smith to build up a board presence, really making a big statement here. And Iron Big Owl coming out straight away. Where is this Death Spike going, though?
Yeah, I have to believe it's going to the face, yeah. It's the only way he could possibly win this game. I think if he starts to pick off minions, it's just preventing himself from dying quicker, but not getting him winning any faster.
Is that a second brawl?
That is a second brawl. ErA has 2 brawls in his controller deck. He is ready for these matchups.
Yeah, completely come equipped, ready to deal with Grim Patron Warrior. I actually like this decision right now to be playing it. But, once again, he's finding himself in a spot where he can play Alexstrasza, but he's concerned with the range of plays available from Zalae. And so that's what he's thinking about. If he foregoes this Alexstrasza, that's exactly what's happening, is that he doesn't want his opponent to be in a position where they can kill the Alexstrasza very easily, and then ErA doesn't have a follow-up. And second Warsong Commander, not good enough right now. And this is it. Zalae's just going to push for the damage right here.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much of another choice. It's going to be the only way that he wins this game. The longer the game goes, the more answers ErA's going to find, and the better spots he's going to get for himself. Zalae's not going to get a better spot to play this Grom.
He doesn't have a way to actually deal with this Grom right now either, other than hope that the brawl gets it done. There is a shield man
draw
right there, though. That's going to give him the armor he needs to shield slam this, and then he has any number of ways to make sure he takes care of this Grom afterwards. It's going to pad his life total a little bit, and you know what? This also may have been a situation that ErA was looking for, was waiting for more burst damage to come out from Zalae. Force him to take that risk and then bring himself back up to a life total, where Zalae just doesn't have the reach to kill him afterwards.
Yeah, he's got a lot of options in the ways to kill the Grom here, almost all of them involving shield slam, but he can do it a lot with Whirlwind, with the proc from the Death Spite. He's got a lot of different ways that he can kill it off here. He's going to probably trade off one of his minions here, and then get in a little damage. Yeah, he's just going to trade off one of his Cruel Taskmasters, get in some damage here, and
starting to chip away now.
Starting to chip away, and Zalae's hand is not the greatest, but charging Loot Hoarder here might dig him into some more action.
He's got to find a way to get something done, because this hand right now is not going to deal 14 plus damage.
I think the only way he has left to win are big Frothing Berserkers, so he's going to have to probably hold on to at least one of these Warsong Commanders, because I'm pretty sure he's out of both of his Grim Patrons, and he doesn't have Grom left anymore.
Yeah, just going to hang on to both of them instead. Try to force ErA to maybe deal with his Loot Hoarder, maybe trying to keep it under wraps to sneak in a little bit of damage here and there, but ErA's not going to fall for it. He's Alexstrasing himself back up to 15 plus 9 armor. This is all but nail in the coffin for Zalae right now, because he does not have any reach to put ErA anywhere into a dangerous position.
Yeah, we've seen ErA just stick to his guns this whole match, take his time, play defensively, protect his life total, and cut off any ways that Zalae can win.
Wow, Zalae is just going to concede straight away, not going to stand there and take his beating. He's going to run away from this battle and look to pick it up in Game 5.
What a match we've had so far. Just a great fight back and forth. And you know what? I have been really, really impressed with ErA's play.
Yeah, the fact that he's choosing to, again, queue up Control over and over again, really kind of making a statement for himself. He wants to have options. He wants to go to the late game. He's comfortable navigating these scenarios where he has to make these tough decisions. And so far, it's been working for him. He's gone toe-to-toe with Zalae.
It's very interesting that you bring up the point that he's brought up Control all 4 matches. It's going to be super interesting to find out what Zalae is going to play in Game 5. Is he finally going to go into a deck where he feels like he's targeting what ErA's doing? He's going to try to play a deck that's got a really good matchup against these control decks he's bringing, or is he going to stick to his guns and keep playing Grim Patron Warrior?
We're going to have to find out. This series is all tied up at 2 games apiece. When we come back, it's match point for both players in a 5th and deciding game. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.